Does your business ever stress you out? Wahaha, what a silly question. Of course it does. You wouldn't be human if your business didn't stress you out. Being a business owner can be incredibly stressful, overwhelming, has brought me to tears and to my knees many, many times. I feel like you probably aren't actually in business if you haven't actually had one of those crying at the kitchen table moments, at least once, and probably many times, because it's stressful to have what can often feel like the weight of the world on your shoulders. You feel responsible for everything. And when it's not going right, it can feel like the world is exploding. What is the complete opposite of that? Peace. Feeling ease in your business. And really, the ideal that I think everyone is hoping for, although they may not be totally clear on it, is feeling ease in your business no matter what's going on at any particular moment. And that's what I want to talk about today. The mindset shifts that you need to make if you want to become somebody who owns a business that is full of ease, even if every day is not necessarily a walk in the park. If I think back to some of the most stressful moments of my career, a lot of them had to do with those first couple of years in my business. Stress because there were so many times where I just felt like we need a client right now, or we're not going to have enough money this month. That is incredibly stressful. Stress because somebody asked me for something that I didn't have at that moment, and now I am scrambling to make it, get it to them. That would happen with prospects. If a prospect said, "Oh, do you have a deck to send me?" And I remember multiple times being in that situation, going to Steve, "Oh, they asked for a deck. We don't have a deck. We need to make a deck." And then Steve and I just stopping everything and spending like 8 hours making something so I could send it to them. I have been incredibly stressed out at moments when I made a mistake on a project or something was wrong. And, whether I could have foreseen it or not, regardless, a client is calling me up and something's wrong. And now I'm in panic mode. Oh my God, I messed something up, or I gotta fix this. I don't know how. Huge panic mode. I've also felt incredibly stressed just running the business and not knowing how to do everything. There's so many things you need to know when you're running a business. And of course, we don't start with that knowledge, especially in the beginning. I didn't know anything when we started this business. And every step of the way, as I learned, I fell flat on my face over and over and over again. And every time that happened, I was stressed out about it. I was overwhelmed. I remember points of my experience in the beginning years where I felt like, is this even possible? I feel like the more I learn that I don't know, right? The more information I get, the more inadequate I feel. Of course, the thing I've always wanted is ease. It was actually the word of my year every year for a few years. I remember specifically sitting around a masterminding table with a mentor of mine, and I said, I want a business full of grace and ease. And it took me years after saying that the first time to actually feel like I was starting to get it. So I feel a lot of ease in my business now. I have felt a good amount of ease in my business and my various businesses for years now. Complete ease? No, I'm not a monk. Of course I have stressful days. Of course I get thrown off my game. But in general, I feel really content, and I have for a really long time. And I'm going to tell you what has made it feel so much easier and given me that sense of peace. I think ease looks like you know what to do. You just know what to do at any moment. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know what you should do if something happens or you need something to happen, right? You need clients, you know what to do. You have a problem with a client, you know what to do. You get a sales call or somebody inquires, you know exactly what to do. Like, you just have clarity around what needs to happen in any given situation. That creates a ton of ease. I think a lot of the dis-ease comes from feeling like you're being put in situations constantly where you have no idea what to do. You don't know what you should be doing in this situation. You feel like there's 20 options and 19 of them are wrong and you don't know which one is the right one. So ease is having that clarity. Ease also comes from generally knowing what to expect. And that's a tough one because I think as humans, we crave certainty and control. And we want to know what's going to happen next. I think we do a lot of things just so we can feel like we know what's going to happen in the future. Of course, joke's on us. You can never know what's going to happen in the future. I think COVID was the perfect example of you could do everything right and something like COVID could still happen. So obviously, we do not have control over the future. You shouldn't pretend that you do, or you shouldn't fool yourself to think that you do. But there is a certain level of knowing what to expect in a business that if you can get to that place where you can expect generally what's going to happen and you really trust it, that can create an incredible amount of ease. And the third thing is you need to feel comfortable and confident in your business. And that's probably the most squishy definition of ease. Ease is going to be just as much about feeling ease as it is about you having it. So there's a tactical and strategic thing that you can do in your business. I mean, many tactical and strategic things you can do in your business to create ease, and habits and skills you can build to create all of that ease. And then there's habituating yourself to feeling ease, because the whole thing could be pretty easy and you could still feel stressed. I observe a lot of business owners, and it's palpable how some people feel stressed no matter what's happening, and some people are kind of chill about it no matter what's happening. And neither is right or wrong. I even think people who feel chill no matter what's happening, that doesn't necessarily mean they feel it. They may just be presenting that way. But the key is really that you have to also be willing to change your way of being. If you are habitually stressed, and speaking from personal experience, right? I mentioned The Big Leap, the book The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, often because he's got a lot of great ideas in there. And one of them is the idea that we kind of have this status quo of how we are. And when things get too good, we bring ourselves back down. So if you are someone who's kind of habitually stressed and overwhelmed, and you make it your business to a place where it's actually much easier to run, it has all of the ease things that I'm talking about, but you don't feel that way because, well, if it's not this, it's that. And if it's not this, it's that. And you know what Gay Hendricks says? He says, and if it's nothing, you'll find something. If it's nothing, you'll go, the dishwasher isn't working, or this house is not clean enough, right? You'll find things to be stressed about. So ease looks like actually feeling it, not just having it. This month, I'm talking about the mindset shifts you need to make to create profit, freedom, and ease. So today's topic is the 3 mindset shifts to create ease. And I kind of just said one, but that's okay. That's bonus one. That's the bonus touchy-feely one. You have to actually learn how to feel ease if you want ease. Okay, mindset shift number 1. You have a plan to follow, and then you have habits to actually use that plan. This is such a great way to create ease in your business. Ease can come from being clear about what needs to happen next. And a great way to do that is to actually sit down and have dedicated time to figuring that plan out. About 10, 12 years ago, Steve and I started doing this annual planning that I talk about. I usually talk about it around December, January, where we would sit down for a couple of days and we would do this massive deep dive into what we wanted in our lives, what we wanted in our businesses, what our plans were for the year, what our goals were, all of that. We would go big picture, and then we would bring it all down to like a very specific plan to execute for the following quarter. And then we would take that even further, and we'd be like, okay, if that's my quarterly goal, then this is what I'm going to do this week. Now, if you put time aside to do that ahead of time, then every morning when you wake up, you know what you got to do. And you know that if you just do those things, you're going to be working towards the big goal. Now, it's not as black and white as that necessarily, but just even having a process allows you to plug in to a plan that you can rely on, instead of doing what I think most business owners do, which is kind of constantly feel like they're a chicken with their head cut off, reacting to things that are happening and just kind of hoping and praying it's all going to get done and that it's going to go in the right direction, and that hoping that this is making your business better. Hoping that your prices will somehow naturally go up, hoping that the clients will get easier. Hope is just a dream without a plan. So I like to plan. I like to get really clear. This is what I want. And then just break it down. Well, this is what I need to do to get there. And now I know. Now I know every morning, this is what I need to work on. Now, remember, I said mindset shift is you have a plan to follow, and then you have the habits to use the plan. That second part is really important. I know that a lot of entrepreneurs, they may hear me say this and they go, oh yeah, great idea. I need a plan too. They might do that deep work. They might put that plan together. And that is really valuable in and of itself. I don't want to take away from that work. Sometimes you just do that work and it's in the back of your head, and you will do a lot of the things because you thought of them and you put some intention behind it. But if you really want to make that stuff happen and you want to make sure it happens, you need a way of tracking it for yourself. You need some sort of habit to look at that every single day, every single week, every single month, so that you are making sure that you're on task. I've definitely written goals down on a piece of paper somewhere and said, wow, this is amazing. And then put it on a shelf, forgot about it, and then found it later and going, oh yeah, I forgot about this, because I had no plan. I had no plan to actually put that into action. Or I had a plan, I put that plan in place, and then I didn't have a habit of putting it into action. So one of the things that we do inside Agency Mastery is we have a whole system that you can follow with us. Communities that we're all doing it together to make sure that you're following your plan. So we put that time aside for you to do that big annual planning, to do that quarterly check-in, to see how am I doing on that annual plan that I put in place. Do I need to speed up or slow down? Do I need to pivot here or there, right? It doesn't mean just because we put a plan in place, doesn't mean we have to do exactly that. It just gives us a compass. It gives us a North Star to go towards. And it's okay if we meander along the way. After doing this for over 10 years, I can tell you that even if you're just loosely going towards that star, you're going to hit it. You're probably going to exceed it. So we do the annual planning, we do the quarterly check-ins, and then we actually do every single week have a time dedicated just to make sure that every single week you set those intentions for the week. So you know exactly what to do. We give you that tracking habit for you, and then we can't make you do anything, but we kind of almost make you do it by giving you the space. All you have to do is show up, and then you'll be doing it. Because once you show up, we're guiding you along. And I think that that is just such an incredibly valuable thing to have at your disposal as a small business, as an entrepreneur, because if you don't already have that structure in place, then you might be one of those people who's kind of all over the place. Either you're just trying lots of things and you're not really thinking about them too deeply because, oh, I read this book, so now I'm going to do this. Or I heard this thing on a podcast, so now I'm going to do that. You're kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and you're not quite sure if it's even headed in the right direction. Or you're not really doing any of those things and you're just working for clients, hoping that referrals come in. When they don't, you're stressed. When they do, you're stressed because you're working on the projects. You don't know when the next one is coming in. You're just living in reaction mode. That's where the stress comes in. Instead, have a plan to follow and then have the habit to implement that plan. And you're going to feel a lot more in control of what's going on a day-to-day basis.
Second, you got to move from monthly thinking to annual thinking. I know that if you've never heard this before, you're going to need to hear this quite a few more times before it actually sinks in.
This is a big thing that we focus on inside Mastery because it is completely antithetical to everything you have learned or thought about up until now. We are all living in an employee mindset world. Unless you were raised by entrepreneurs who taught you this, you are probably thinking on a monthly basis. That means you go, well, I need $5,000 a month for my expenses, so I need to make $5,000 a month to cover my expenses. And if I don't, then I'm going to be totally stressed. And if I make more than that, great, but the next month is going to come and I'm still going to feel like I need to make that 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, whatever. Annual thinking is about saying, zoom out. It's not that my expenses are $5,000 a month. It's that my expenses are $60,000 for the year or $120,000 for the year. Annual thinking is about not tying your revenue to a goal that is on a monthly basis. Why? Because a month is not that long. And the idea that you would hit this exact target every single month when you're the business owner, you're the one responsible for drumming up the business. You're the one closing the clients. You're the one doing the work. The idea that you would also be able to do that at such a clip that you would do it exactly the same every single month. And that's even the goal is kind of crazy. A profitable, freedom-filled business. What does that actually look like? Well, let me just paint two scenarios. Scenario one is you make $10,000 in January, and then you make $10,000 in February, and then you make $10,000 in March, and then you make $10,000 every other month for the rest of the year. You make $120,000. Okay. If I said that to a lot of people in our world, they would go, yeah, that's exactly what I want. I just want a consistent, steady $10,000 a month. Well, first of all, I would call that a job, and you can absolutely have that.
You just have to go apply for one. Now, one way that people have pushed back and said, well, no, I can get a steady $10,000 a month. I just have to have ongoing clients. Totally. If you get a couple of retainers and you add it to $10,000 a month, you may very well be able to have this steady $10,000
a month, pseudo salary. But guess what? That really is a job. You just have multiple employers and you don't have any
job security or benefits,
right? Because what is a retainer client where you're doing all the work? It's just a job. It's somebody who has hired you and is paying you to do this job, for a certain amount of hours a month. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not a business full of freedom, profit, and ease. So what does a profitable, freedom-filled business look like? Well, instead of $10,000 in January, maybe you make $0, and maybe you make $5,000 in February. But then maybe you make $20,000 in March, and then you make another $10,000 in April. But then you have a really big month in May and you make $30,000, and on it goes. And you have months that are low or close to zero, and you have months that are really, really high. And all of that adds up to 120. But in those low months, you're not thinking, oh my God, I didn't make my $10,000 this month. Oh my God, I didn't make my $5,000 this month. I'm super, super stressed. You're thinking, I got all year to make this money. As long as I make $120,000 this year, I'm good. And when I have months that are not full of cash coming in, that's fine too, because guess what? I'm spending those months doing all the business building activities I need to do in order to be able to charge twice as much as I'm charging now. I'm doing all of the business building, investment time and energy into honing my skills, learning how to be better at what I'm doing, getting more valuable in my strategic thinking, getting better at writing copy, building my internal processes so that my projects, I can charge the same or more, but take less time to do them because my systems are getting better, because my processes are getting better. It does take my students a little while to make this shift in their mindset. But when they do, and they tell me for the first time, and it is like a beautiful, beautiful thing every time I've seen this happen, and it happens more and more every day. Somebody says to me, you know what, I didn't make any money this month, and I don't feel a thing about it because I know I'm going to make that money this year. And instead of stressing all month, I just spent that time continuing to do all the things I know to do that are building my business, because I know that the clients are going to come. And I know when they come, they're so profitable that I really don't need that many of them anyway. So I spent this time building my authority machine, connecting with people that I like who are potentially sending me business or future clients. I spent that time resting and relaxing because I know that when the projects come in, I'm going to probably be busy for a little while. That is not a kind of trust in your business and process that happens overnight. But as you do it more and more, you build the confidence in how your business works. And that's really what ease looks like with annual thinking. Because I think it is completely unrealistic and kind of unreasonable to think that as a small service business, you are going to close exactly the same number of projects every single month. And by the way, the other problem with that thinking is that that means that you have to work the same amount every single month. So where's the freedom? Like, where's all the time you want to take off? Where's that flexible time? Instead of thinking of it like, I need this to happen every single month, which means I need to be working the same every single month to do it, which again is a job. Why don't we think about it like, I need to get 6 clients at $20,000 a piece, and I can do those at any time during the year. And as long as I do that, I got it. And I'm going to spend the other 6 months out of the year doing all these other things that are super high value for me in my life, me as a person, my personal growth, and the future value of my business. Because I'm going to invest that time into just getting better at all these things so my business is worth even more. The most valuable thing you can do is invest your time and money and energy into making your business more valuable. Because if you compare the payoff of investing in your business versus investing in the stock market, as long as you keep going with it, your business is going to explode the ROI compared to any sort of stock. You could literally double your business in the next year, or triple it even, I've seen, simply by showing up and doing the strategic thinking and slowing down to speed up by investing in building the asset that you have. And that requires you to understand that in order to invest your time into building that value, there are going to be months where you're working on your business more than you're working with clients, right? So there are going to be months where the cash isn't coming in, but the time is being invested so that the cash comes in much more in a couple months, right? The time you spend now, maybe you spend a whole month just connecting with people, right? That's a great thing to do in the early stages. You're just getting as many people as possible to know who you are, who you help, how you help them. The more people out there that know who you are and like you and understand who you help, the more business you're going to attract. They'll literally send it to you if you're super clear about it. You do that pretty intensely for a month or two, the next few months you're going to be overworked. And that's actually like one of the first problems people have. They come into our community, they go, okay, I need business. They do the things. And then all of a sudden the next problem is, oh my God, I have so many clients. I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how I'm going to manage all of this. I can't possibly do all these projects. Okay, great. Well, there's another step for that. And we have all kinds of steps for that, right? Like there's another thing you can do to manage that so it doesn't feel stressful, and you can schedule them out and all kinds of things. But my point is that annual thinking is necessary for you to move into a space of ease, because a really successful, profitable no BS agency is one where your income is going to go up and down, and it's totally cool. And you feel good about it, because that's what's going to allow you to go to a completely different level. And it takes time. Like, don't get me wrong. This is a process, and it's not that you have annual thinking or you don't. It's really more of a spectrum, and you're going to move more and more into annual thinking the more reliable your business is. Which brings me to mindset shift number 3. Ease comes when you feel confident that you know how to drum up more business and make money. This is probably the best mindset shift that you can make. I used to think that there was a dollar amount that if I had it in the bank, I would feel financially secure. And then I had that dollar amount in the bank, and I realized that's not what makes you feel financially secure. What makes you feel financially secure, because that money can go, right? Something could happen. No matter how much money it is, you could spend it pretty easily if something catastrophic happened. Cash in the bank does not create financial stability. It might feel like it creates some of it, and certainly if you have no money, like having some security in the bank, that will feel better. But the true way to feel ease around financial security, and therefore your business, is that you know that at any moment, you know how to find clients and close business, that you know how to make money. That is the most financially secure you can be. If you dropped me in the middle of Manhattan with nothing, no brand, no connections, no nothing, right? Just me and my intellect, right? Just me and the skills that I have, what I know, my know-how, I could make money probably today. probably in a couple of hours. In fact, that reminds me of a show. Grant Cardone, who I don't love, but he was on this show. I think it was called Undercover Billionaire. Maybe? No, it wasn't called Undercover Billionaire. I don't know what it was called. The point was they dropped Grant Cardone in the middle of nowhere with nothing. They gave him literally $0, and he had to like find his way, and he makes like $1 million business in, I don't know, 90 days or something. It was a little put on, but the point is still there, right? He knows how to make money. So he could be anywhere with nothing and still know how to make money. And that shift, that mindset shift, when I had that mindset shift, everything changed. All of a sudden, I realized that I was no longer at the mercy of cash flow at all, because I knew at any moment I could drum up business because I know what to do. I know what to say. I know who to talk to. I know how to do it. And I could probably do it in a lot of different industries too, because I understand how to close business. I know how to position something that's valuable. And these are things that you need to know how to do if you're going to own a business. And it is so exciting to watch our students have these realizations about the fact that they are no longer tied in terms of how they feel and how stressed they are. It is no longer about dollars in and dollars out, because they feel confident in their ability to make that money. I was actually just talking to a student earlier today. We were doing a podcast interview. Erica, you'll hear that in a couple months. And she was telling me that her plan this year is that she's actually going to take a couple of months, and she's planned for it, and she knows she's going to check out for a couple of months. And I think she said something along the lines of, and I'm cool with it now. Like, I feel good about it, and I can actually check out, and I'm not stressed. I know that, I can work when I come back. I know I'll be able to have clients when I come back for a variety of reasons, including that she now has an authority machine. But she said, and if something went horribly wrong, or, I decided, oh gosh, I need a lot more money right now, she was like, I know how to do it. So I can take off and feel good because I know that at any moment, if I need money, I know exactly what to do to make it. If that doesn't make you feel at peace and ease, then I don't know what will. My team tells me every once in a while that when they hop on calls with potential members of our community, people who are interested in joining our program, every once in a while somebody will say, well, how many people succeed? Like, what's your success rate? How long does it take? How long is it going to take me to be successful, right? Which is a complicated question, because we don't measure success purely by numbers. We measure success of our students in terms of profit, freedom, and ease. And we attract people who absolutely, they want to make more money, right? We lead with 30K months. We do that because we want to give some idea of what's possible. And people come in and they definitely want to make more. But few, maybe no people join our program, and that's the only thing they want. Everybody that joins our program, probably because this is a value of mine, is coming in saying, I want to make more money, but not at the expense of my freedom and ease. In fact, I would like freedom and ease with it. So I don't want to just make more money to make more money's sake. I want to make more money, and I want to enjoy running my business. And I want to feel good about it, and I want to have flexibility and freedom to enjoy my life as well, which is a huge value of mine. And the reason that as soon as we hit that $500,000 in our business back in 2014, 2015, we went from $40,000 in debt to $500,000 in 12 months. As soon as we did that, we then promptly took 6 months off to invest in building a course. We did not try to make more money than that. That was more money than we ever thought we could make. And we ended up actually working with as few clients as possible for the next 6 or 7 months because we had all this money in the bank. And we felt like, I know how to make money if I need it, and I have money. And what I really wanted was time to do other projects. Steve wanted time to paint. I wanted time to write a book. There were so many things that we wanted time for that we bought that time with that money. And so that's something that I have watched a lot of students do as well. Inside Mastery, we do goal setting and pricing based on a good, better, and best model. So we ask you, what are your good, better, and best financial goals? And we have a whole process for actually figuring out what those are. It shouldn't just be off the top of your head. But, most people, okay, let's get to good, and then let's get to better, and then best is that reach goal. What is the amount of money that you would just be like, I am making more than I ever thought, and, this is very exciting. And it's really fun to do because you don't just come up with these numbers. You tie the numbers to specific things that you want. I don't think you should ever make money for money's sake. You want to tie every dollar that you're stretching for to something that is of value to you. So, everybody fills this out. But I have found that most people, when they hit their better number, they stop stretching as far for the best number. And it's not because they don't want it. It's just because they value freedom and ease more. And once you make more money than you need, and you value time and flexibility and feeling good, as you continue to charge more and work less, which is, we're always pushing for that. We're always looking for how can we continually make this more profitable? And it might not be charge more and work less. It might just be shorten your process, right? Or it might just be leave your process and raise your prices. There's a lot of different ways to continually be more and more profitable. As we make your stuff more and more profitable, you may decide to just take on fewer clients. When we got our projects to $30,000, I was never going to do more than 12 of those a year. $360,000? Perfect. Like no need to do more than that. And we only spent a week on those. So that gave us so much free time. Why would I take on more? I didn't need more than that. So the reason it's really hard to say, how long does it take to be successful, is because everybody's got a different number and everybody's got a different amount of freedom that they want. And so success is really individual to each person. And what's really interesting is that we help you define what that is, because I don't think most people really know in numbers and feelings what success looks like. When you're building a business and it feels overwhelming, you can't think about these numbers. You can't think about this precision. It's just, I don't know, I'm just overworked, right? I just need more clients. I need to make more. I need to work less. It's all kind of scattered. But the shortest path to getting to a different picture of your business is to first get clear on what that business actually looks like. And that's, something we do early on inside Mastery, because I think most people don't actually have a clear picture of exactly what that business would look like. And the second you really outline it, you know exactly what the business model is. I just need 5 clients at this price, and I need to sell this many LPs, and I need to do this much outreach, and I'll have it. As soon as you get that clarity, the ease can come. But if you don't have clarity, that chaos in your head and not really knowing, that's where a lot of that stress comes from. So these are all things that are front and center inside No BS Agency Mastery. If you need some more ease in your life, this might be a perfect fit for you. Go to nobsagencies.com/program. Watch the video, book a call. Our team will help you figure out very gently if you are a good fit for this. They're not here to sell you. Their job is not actually to enroll anybody who's not a great fit for us. If you come on the call and you're like, I just want money, I don't care about anything else, they will kindly, politely show you the door. We're really looking for people who care about what they do, love what they do, want to do your work, want to do a great job, and also don't want to only do that. Have other things that they care about, and they want the profit, freedom, and ease to enjoy. nobsagencies.com/program. That's all I've got for you today. I will talk to you next week.